Hello everybody, I am Charlene. I have been asked a bunch of times about bag repair, so to help alleviate the questions that I get, I have decided to make some bag tutorials on how to repair your bag. The bag I'm going to show you today is going to be a Moana bag that had some fading on the corners and the edges and the back. No divots or chunks, so I'm not going to get into a full tutorial here today. This is mainly just going to be touching up on paint. First, I want to apologize on how crude and rough this first video is. I'm totally new to tutorials. I have never done this before, so I sincerely apologize that this is rough. I hope the videos going forward are going to be a little bit better as I'm learning my editing software. So a couple of the things that you're going to see in my video today are going to be tools that I'm using and tools that I recommend to use in any sort of bag repair going forward. So you're going to definitely see me use a lot of acrylics. You can get any sort of acrylic paint at Walmart, Joann's, Michael's, really wherever. And this stuff isn't really that expensive. I think the big bottles might be $3 or $4, and the little bottles like this size are only about $1 to $2, again depending on where you're getting them. Also, Joann's and Michael's usually has like a 30% off sale, etc. One of the other items that you're going to see me talk about is going to be paint pens or acrylic paint pens. You can get these in various sizes and amount of colors, kind of like crayons, off Amazon, and I can provide links with my video when I do upload these for you to be able to go ahead and pick which ones you want. I have only used these so far they're good. There's a tons of brands. I don't know anything about them. I kind of just picked one and went with it. The other item that I'm going to use in this particular video, and I also highly recommend, is a leather repair kit. You can get this off Amazon for about $18 to $25, again depending on how many colors you want in the box and everything to come with it. You're going to see that there is a variety of colors. These come in a tube, and you'll see there's, I don't even think I have all the colors. I think I'm missing blue. But it comes in a bunch of different colors, but these are only going to be your base colors. You are going to modify these with acrylics later on to find the perfect color. Some of them I actually do use straight out of the tube because they do match quite well, but others you're gonna have to mix. In this particular video with the leathers, you'll see me mix it in one or two acrylics, I believe, and I will use one straight. Other than that, I also am going to recommend sealing your bag. If I mention anything about an acrylic paint sealer, I did end up sealing this bag with one of those, but it felt a little tacky to me. So I'm actually going to recommend a leather sealer instead of an acrylic sealer for less of the tack. So if you hear me talk about an acrylic sealer, just ignore that. Again, I apologize for the super crudeness of this video. It's my first one. Please bear with me. And other than that, if you have any questions after this video, or if my bag or angle was out of a picture and you didn't get to see it, again, I'm sorry. I will do much better on my next bag. But just message me. Ask me if you need any help or if there's a certain technique or something that you want to try. But just let me know. Again, I'm so sorry for how bad this first one is, and it's a little bit longer than I intended, but my next ones will get better, and my level of hardness with the bags will also increase as we go on, but expect more videos soon. So thank you for watching. So today I am going to start off with repairing some fading on this Moana bag. I kind of already started this before I decided to start doing tutorials, so I'm going to show you kind of where I left off and then what I'm going to do to go ahead and fix this. So I'll point out some of the fading. It's kind of minor towards the top. You've got it here. You've definitely got it on the corners. It also had it on these corners as well. And if you look really closely, you can see where I tried to use a teal paint marker, but the color didn't quite match, so I'm gonna blend that a little bit better. Also, there's a couple fading spots on the back of the bag that I also want to repair as well, as best as I can. There are a lot of colors on this bag, so fixing every little spot you know, it might be a little bit more of an intense project for some. I'll try and do the best that I can to fix up most of it, but it's already in pretty good condition as is. It's just got a couple spots that need touching up. So let me show you guys my process, so hopefully you guys can do the same. So what I first recommend for anyone that wants to try and repair their bags, also I'm really sorry for my messy desk. I craft a lot, so like you can see I do pua ears and, you know, fun other stuff, so I'm always a disaster. But anyways, so what I recommend for everyone to get is a leather and vinyl repair kit. These are on Amazon. I can provide links to them when I post this video. They're about $18 to $25 depending on how many colors and options you want with it. It's really good because it helps bind to the leather. It's really awesome, and I just find it as a good base. What I do though is, because you usually only get a handful of colors, as you can see here, is that you can mix these with acrylics, and you'll see me, that's what I do, to really get the perfect color. So, but I would recommend is this is your base, especially the whites and the creams are a really good color to try and match anything that's, you know, blues, greens. And then these are great for any scuffs and marks that you're going to find on the straps or the piping along the edges of the bottom of the bag, you know. So just keep in mind these are really versatile, and you can change the color with acrylics. So don't be afraid that there's a very limited amount of colors. What I also recommend is a shoe glue or a leather glue, as soon as I can find it here. Okay, this is about $20 on Amazon as well. So between these two things and some acrylic, like dollar store or even Walmart $2 acrylic, you literally can repair bags for life. I have mainly stuck with these two things. I have occasionally used some paint pens where I could have it work. I'll bring out my Beast bag later that I'm trying to repair as well. The paint job on that is terrible. So I want to, so really I'm going to focus on using these two things right now to really show you guys how to go ahead and repair these bags. So let me go ahead and get a few things set up, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, everyone, so I am going to work on repairing this Moana bag. It has some fading. I've already kind of started on this before I decided to do tutorials, so bear with me. I'm going to show you what I've done and where and what I'll do next. So sometimes getting these exact colors with acrylics, you can see I attempted, it's kind of hard. So your best option is to either go to a Joann's or a Michael's or even Walmart, bring the bag with you and try and find a color as close as possible. So you can see Walmart actually had an acrylic paint pen that's pretty close. It's a little darker, but it's pretty close. So what I've gone ahead and done is there were areas on the corners that needed to be touched up, as well as along of the edges, and then I'm going to touch up on the back. So I'm going to show you that don't freak out when you see this, because you'll see how I'll fix it. So you're going to see that when I paint, it comes out a little thick and it's a little darker. So what I've been doing is I'm splotching, and don't worry about this other black mark. That black is one of the easiest colors to fix on a bag, so I can paint that back. So I'm going to sit here and color in this. You don't want to put too much paint if you see that the paint pen gives off a lot of paint. So what you're going to do is you're going to, sorry, I'm trying to do this where you guys can see it. I'm going to dab it on there to flatten it out, to make it a little bit more even, rub it in with my fingers. Your fingers will get dirty in this process. So if you want to keep your hands clean, this is definitely not a project for you. Again, don't mind any colors that you might have. Again, yellow, super easy. But if you keep like a wet paper towel or a baby wipe, that's what I use, nearby, any place that you get it that you didn't want it, you know, sorry, again, this is hard to do when I'm doing it in small areas. You know, you just sit there and wipe it off, and it'll come off where you didn't want it. So again, see how it doesn't quite blend in well? I did the same thing up here at the beginning of the bag. Up here, so you can see it's kind of darker, and let me see if I can get it close for you. You can see it's darker and doesn't quite blend well. So what I've done is to make this a little bit more even. I have made my own little paint colors. You know, I actually bled 3 paint colors. Lime green, green, and a almost teal blue, maybe sky blue. It's kind of an unusual color. Again, you'll find it, you can really do this with these basic colors of acrylic that I've got right there. You can achieve the same color I did fairly easily. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just lightly tap this, kind of really get the excess off. And then I'm gonna go over these spots that were darker with the acrylic, so you can actually see. And then here, let me see if I can get this closer for you guys to really be able to see what I'm doing here. So you can see I'm gonna blend in that darker color a little bit better. Again, if you put too much on there, just use your finger to dab it off. And see how much better that blends in with the bag. You can barely even tell that it's there. So again, I'm just gonna go in, fill this in a little bit. And then again, don't be afraid to go dab a little bit more. And then again, come in here, dab around where you've put the darker. Dab a little bit off because you wanna let that darker color shine in. Otherwise, again, the color won't match. So then same thing, dab, 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 blend. And there, see, you can see it looks significantly better than the darker, and it's blended quite nicely with the bag. Again, I'm gonna try and repeat this process all over the bag. So here, you know, I don't want to do too much because it's just a small area I need to achieve. Same thing here. And again, you want to give this a few minutes to dry. You don't want to blend the second you get it on the bag, because you're using this color that's not quite perfect as the base, and you want this other color that you created to be the overlay. So same thing. So there, you saw I just put it on there. You know, any tiny spots like this where it's in that same area, you don't want to worry about doing the whole pen there, especially when it's not a fine point pen. I wish they made that color in fine point. It's a really good color. Just go in and dab with the acrylic to fix any problems that you couldn't get with the marker. So here you're gonna see me, I'm going back and touching up. And so here, I'm also going to try and show you guys in real light. So here is more of a real light situation, nothing, you know, there is, so again here, painting up here, so you guys can kind of see a before and after. I know my light, I need it to work sometimes, but so here, so see, you can see how I've covered that up, and it looks really good. It's nice and blended. So again, sorry for the light. I need it to work. It's a dark room in here. I don't like light. I'm a vampire. So you just go in and really dab over this. So you didn't need to make your own, you know, too much color. So same thing, going back, dabaroo, fixing. And again, these darker colors, you can see that was almost kind of the color of the marker. So I can go back in and fix this up a little bit. So here, I'm just gonna go around. I noticed some fading in other spots. Just gonna touch it up lightly. And then what I'll do at the end is, once I get this bag to how I really want it, I will seal it with an acrylic sealer. One, so it will help prevent further fading, and two, it will help prevent nicking of any of what I've done to the bag. Most of the bag, so here's another spot where I put the blue, you know, because you just want to protect the bag as much as possible. I actually highly recommend that if anybody has a Grail bag that they absolutely love or really, really want to keep in good shape, is always just seal it in acrylic sealer anyways. I'll show you guys at the end which acrylic sealers I recommend. It's also going to be super important when you're working on these bags to determine what type of pleather or leather you're working with. Does it have like a glossy finish? Does it have a matte finish? Because that's going to determine, one, what you're going to do with the paint. This one, even though the color was a little bit more difficult, the leather has a bit more of a glossy feel to it. So the paint is just going to match naturally because it's got its own little sheen. So sorry, I'm a perfectionist, so if I see a bunch of spots that I need to fix, I'm going to go back and fix it. So this one will go over well, and I'll work on some matte ones later in the week to show you how you can take down some of the dullness. But so here you can see all the spots that I touched up on the front. It blends, again, I'll show you in real light. So it is blended pretty nicely. I know there's some more fading spots in some of the other colors that I'll get to next, but I wanted to show you guys the base color of the bag first. So you can see that I've blended as much as I could there. So again, as I drop stuff, you can see on the back of the bag where I've drawn in on the back. So here again, I'm going to show you and again, you can see I got some paint on this bag already. It'll come off, I promise. The great thing about acrylic is it does take a bit to get off. So even if you, you'll see, even if I didn't seal this, it would take a lot to get off. So again, I'm blending in real time. Dabby, dab, 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 just to make sure it gets that right color. So see how these two colors have really worked perfectly to make a perfect color, really. I couldn't, and again, I'll fix this corner and everything I need to in this seagull, which I think is a seagull. And then dab, same thing. Sometimes you might dab a little too much off, so just go back. But yeah, so you can see where I've really gone in and touched up this bag as much as possible, and to really blend it to take away all the major fading. Again, some bags, it's not worth fixing up every little ding and fade. You know, I will try and cover or blend like I'm doing as much as possible to try and, you know, restore the bag. But overall, it is sometimes not worth it, especially if it's in an inconspicuous area like the back. No one's really gonna see the back too much. So I'm gonna kind of once over. Well, first I'm gonna take my baby wipe, which is always good to have on hand when you are working on bags, to try and clean up where I got onto an area that I wasn't supposed to. Hold on a second. So this is just a standard baby wipe, and look, and you can see where I am having to really scratch to get this stuff off. So you can see that in order for the paint that I do to come off, you really have to work at it. But again, I seal it just to be safe. Again, and if you think you've messed up anywhere, baby wipes will wipe off the acrylic. But here, and I'll show you now in the light so you can see how much better that was blended. So now I'm going to do the same thing after I do one more once over on the bag to make sure there's no glaring teal areas that I missed. So see, I'll fix this area right here, just because, again, I have extra paint left over and I might as well. So same thing, just dabby dab, 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 dab. I got a little on the peach flower, wipe it off with my fingers. Just be careful also when you're turning the bag, that anything that you dab on your fingers, just don't use those fingers to turn the bag. I have done that a few times and found out after the fact that I've accidentally put finger marks all over a bag. So again, you've seen it comes off even after it dries. That stuff I just took off the black part was dry, so don't fret. So okay, same thing. Just double checking I don't see any glaring teal. I already know that there's some brown spots that need to be fixed, but any areas with teal that really need repair, and it looks good. Also, since I'm here, I'm gonna cut this excess string off because it's gonna annoy me. Here we go, perfect. Never pull on strings, just cut them as they come off. You know, these bags still are $50 to $100 bags. They're not perfect. Okay, so one of the major areas that I also want to fix on the front of this bag is gonna be this corner with Moana's hair. And then also I'm gonna see if I can try and touch up a bit of Maui up here. If he doesn't get perfect, and you know, the leaves mainly, if he doesn't get perfect again, I'm not going to be super upset. You know, matching his brown, tan, whatever color we're calling it, might be a little bit difficult, but I'll do my best. So let me guys kind of show you my process. So I'm again just double checking. Okay, so with this brown, it's a pretty dark brown. It should be pretty easy to match. This might even be in like a leather kit. Okay, so towards the beginning of the video, I kind of reviewed the things that I recommend to work on bags, especially if you plan on having a lot of them. And one of them was that leather vinyl and paint repair kit. So it's gonna come with you know, some basic brown colors, which is really nice. So I'm gonna repair Moana's hair right here, and I'm gonna use the chocolate. It's the darkest of the colors. So I've already got some on here. It's the same thing. You're just gonna take it, dab it, and see how it matches the bag almost perfectly. Try not to, this stuff does dry within a couple minutes, so try not to let it, you know, sit out too long. But this really does blend nicely. It also has a nice, and again, use your fingers to dab if you think you've used too much. Sometimes this stuff does take a couple layers to get right, so don't mind that at all. If you can't get it perfect the first go round, just let it dry. Again, sorry, I have to remember to let you guys see it. Just go over it once over as best as you can. You don't want it too clumpy. You want it as smooth and flat as possible. So like here, I already can tell I'm going to need to do 2 layers of this. It dries relatively quickly, which is super nice, but you can see now that corner is perfect. It doesn't look bad at all. You can barely even tell there was an issue there. So again, while that dries, I'm going to carefully look over the bag. Make sure there's no other brown spots that could use touching up. So there's a few here on Moana's hair. Again, like I said earlier, it's not worth fixing up every ding sometimes. Bags, especially if they're used, you know, they're gonna get dings. It's just the nature of the bag. Okay, so that one was good. Let me double check on the back. Nope, nothing crazy there. All right, so it looks like I'm good on the brown. So again, you can see this dried relatively fast, so I'm just gonna touch it. You know, it's still a little damp to the touch, but you should be able to add this second layer now without any problems. Try and keep your brush to a tip. Sometimes I'm using older brushes right now, so mine are kind of, it's time for some new ones. But yeah, anyways, so here I go, and I'm dabbing. Just gonna touch up her whole hair because, again, slightly perfectionist when it comes to repairing these bags. There, so ta-da. So again, I'm gonna try and fix, just because this is the front of the bag, I'm gonna try and do the greens next. And a little bit of Maui. So I'm gonna wash my paintbrush. So Maui, I can already kind of tell, is gonna have similar to this tan color, but I have a feeling I might need to mix in a little bit of the walnut. But we'll give it a go and see how this tan works. So again, I'm putting it on my little tray. Again, I have paint trays, but I use them quite often, so I'm kind of out. So keep in mind too, when you put these things away, to try and clean off the top of these as much as possible. Otherwise you're gonna have the issue like I have, where it is backed up with something. If you have like a toothpick or a razor blade or even a pen tip, just, you know, stick it in there and you can clean it out and it should work. So let me see if I can get this to come out now. Yep, came out just fine. So again, especially in this area where it's really tiny, make sure you're really using a fine tipped paintbrush. You can even use maybe the corner of a paintbrush. That's what I'm going to try real quick because my other ones are wet and I really don't want to have any running. So I am going to dab the tan. just on the very corner. So let me see if I can get you to see this. So it's like barely on the corner right there. So, and then I'm just gonna go and find a good spot. So, yep, I was right. Maui is a good tan color. So I am going to lightly brush this on the white spots. Again, dab off any excess. You don't want it to look clumpy. And again, if you still see some white areas after where you've painted, just go back and go over it after you let it dry for a minute. Again, no one's gonna realize that I've painted over partially of Maui's tattoo. If you are noticing that level of detail of an error in a bag, then I'm gonna say this in the most polite way: you need a life. People shouldn't be inspecting your bags this closely, and not to mention their bags. So here, same thing, touching up Maui, just to try and really restore again, I mainly care about the front of the bag because that's what most people do see. So I understand wanting it to be good looking, but it definitely, any used bag won't be perfect. See, again, this leather kit is really a lifesaver. It has a lot of colors that Loungefly or even, you know, basic leather users use. So it's really good for filling in bags. So again, you can see I was like, oh yeah, hey, there's a spot I missed with the dark color. So I'm gonna get my paintbrush back out. I dabbed it. Painted Maui's hair. So you can't tell. All right, back in the water that goes. And then I'll finish fixing up his body. Perfect. Okay, and I going over this bag quite a few times. I haven't really seen anything too crazy with the dark or the tans. That was pretty much the only area I really need to repair. So all that's pretty much left now is for me to fix up the teal here. And actually, I just noticed an area where I didn't blend it very well with the teal. So you guys are going to get an opportunity to see me fix that teal because mine has all dried now. Actually, let me see if I can get it wet and revive it a little bit. Sometimes if you have a little bit left on your paint tray, you can bring it back to life, but sometimes there is no hope and you just have to remix paint. Not always the best, but there, see? And sometimes it really is, especially with a pattern like this where it's like an all over print. There's a lot that can be easily missed. It really is hard to catch every error in the bag, but I try and do the best that I can. So same thing, gonna just try and fix what I can. So let me show you what I'll do to fix the green. So same thing, I'm gonna go back to my acrylic markers and be like, okay, again, this one looks close. This one's too green. And I don't really have any other color green. This is the one I ordered off Amazon. Again, I showed you guys this earlier. There's one with 48 that I also bought too, but I don't think I need to dig into that one for this project. So I'm gonna go with this. And then paint on it and see how well it looks on the bag. And if it's too much, too little, then I will adjust with some, acrylic paint. So again, use it. I can already tell you this one will be a little too light for the bag. This will probably fit more for this or this one, but again, I'll give it a base coat. Dab, 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 just to fill it in. I've actually had a few cases where, just having a base color down and not just the white that's underneath the bag is much better than trying to find the perfect color the first time, because it just takes so many layers. So I'm gonna try and attempt to make my own color green, because it's just not gonna blend well. You can see my attempt. So this quite isn't what I want. So I'm gonna start with a basic green. Well, this one's called Christmas green, but basic green essentially. They get really fun with their colors, I guess, around holiday time. So I will show you, I just did a small dab, especially when you're working with a darker color and you're trying to lighten it. Always do and then the white, you only need 1 dot of, and then I'm gonna probably end up needing a dash of yellow to make it match this color quite well. But let me mix to see what I get first, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, I did a little bit too much white, which is fine. Again, it's always better to be lighter than darker, because it's going to take 10 times as much to make it lighter than it would be to make it darker. So I'm going to add just a small drop. Again, dark goes as I paint my other paint. Goes a really long way. And then I'm going to add this yellow, because it's clearly going to need it to make the right color. Again, I was messing around with yellow earlier, so I have a lot of yellow in my lid. So I'm just gonna, what are you trying to do, boo-boo? My dog's blind and he's trying to get around my house, so sorry. So here I'm gonna mix these 3 together. So you can see that's a pretty good color. Let's see how well this, I think it might need a little bit more. Yep, needs a little bit more green, maybe a tinge of brown. So I'm actually gonna mix in just a little bit of this tan brown. Again, I told you guys you can mix these with acrylics. Brown, and then just the tiniest bit of green. Like, and when I say tiny, I mean, like at this point, I'm gonna put it on my, oh, see, that was not tiny and it spilled. I'll wipe it off here, but let me mix it in this. So you can see that brown went a really, really long way with how little I used. But let's see if I can. And now we have a bit better of a color. It needs, again, just a tinge more green. Thankfully, I have a bunch sitting right there that I dropped on my working surface. So again, let's see how this goes. Sometimes if the color really is too hard to match, I will, especially like up here, it's a small tree. It's not really attached to a whole picture. I just repaint the whole tree and no one will know the difference, that it's not the exact color. Again, I don't claim to be master bag fixer. I just make them look as good as possible, because we do know how much these bags mean to us. So I'm learning how to operate this kind of stuff. I've never done YouTube or tutorials or any of this stuff, so again, bear with me here. I'm learning as you're learning. You can see I painted over the tree trunk, used the same color I did on Maui, and went back and fixed it. So same thing. Okay, I'm gonna wipe up this green paint now because I know I'm gonna stick the bag in it. It's how my life works. So I'm gonna try and achieve this, again, unusual green color. So mixing a bit more green with what I've already mixed. Let's see here. Nope, you can see it's a little too dark. So what I want to do is add a little bit of, again, the yellow. Not too much yellow because you don't want it too crazy. Okay, I'm going to go back to the light just because I need to see. So again, this is going to be a trial and error for this. Ooh, so see that green is pretty darn close. You can really keep fidgeting with it if you want to. I'm gonna add just a little bit more yellow, see if I can achieve that color since I'm like super close. Again, adding a smidge more yellow. It really bugs me when I can't get these colors perfectly, so bear with me here. Also, just be careful of stray hairs on your brush. They will. Did I just get yellow paint all over? I have not. They will paint parts of your brush or your bag that you didn't want to. What I recommend is if you start getting any stray, because again, I buy really cheap paintbrushes because I go through them so much. Just take scissors, cut them shorter so they don't reach the bag. Problem solved. Carry on. So again, I'm going to let this dry up. You clearly see I'm painting purposely over some areas that are not green. I got really close with this green, y'all. Okay, so I'm happy with this. So the next thing I'm gonna fix is this, like, it's supposed to be black, but it's actually a navy blue. So what I'm gonna do is bleed a blue pen. And when I mean bleed, what you do is you take an acrylic pen, hold the cap down, there's blue. recap it, and then I'm just gonna get a dab, and I mean this time for real, a dab of black. Like I'm gonna put the black completely somewhere else because it never comes out as a dab. I'm gonna take this teeny tiny brush and like legit dab like that much and mix it in with this black or this blue. See if I can't match it. Close. Need a smidge more blue, and I think I'm gonna use this blue. And there we have it. It matches. Again, some of these colors are easier to do than others. Okay, so now that you have watched my tutorial on the bag, I kind of wanted to show you the finished product, so you can get a really good once over in natural light to see, you know, the bag and all of the repairs that I've done. So you can see that it's in really good shape. It looks really good. Again, you can hardly tell that there is as much damage as when we started. Again, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. But yeah, it looks really good. And again, someone shouldn't notice that, you know, this was repaired and this corner was repaired. But like I said, if people are looking that closely to your bags, they need help. Again, sorry this is so long. Sorry it's a little rough. I'm clearly losing my voice. Again, sorry. But yeah, here's to the next video.